And joining us is Robert Garland. Hello, Robert.
Mac, Satira, Stuart, thank you very much for the invite.
Great to have you here, Robert. You are a trusted hand at council. You have spent time in there, but you know, for people that haven't been around and don't know anything about you, just give us a little 30-seconder on you.
Well, I was born in Esk, near Somerset Dam. I'm a Queenslander through and through. I've been in the Bay for 32 years and lived in Point Vernon, our family home, for the last 16 years. I love Hervey Bay. It's been good to me and my family. My community connections are wide-ranging from Rotary, Surf Life Saving, Fraser Coast Mates, Dunga Derby, and the RSL to ZPAC Theatre and Comfort Kitchen. I've enjoyed so much fun and friendship. It's given me a rich life, which I'm very grateful for.
Thanks, Rob. I'm going to ask the next question. If you do become elected to council, what do you hope to achieve?
Well, I've put out a 5-point plan, and I'll use my vote to advocate for community safety, road safety and traffic management, addressing council blowouts, our cemetery capacity, and the Pub Hyoba precinct. It's vital that we're deliberate, patient and professional in bringing any projects to fruition, because there's a lot on council's plate, particularly with the growth we've been experiencing and will likely experience in the years ahead.
Robert, you are well aware of this. In council, you need 5 other votes to achieve anything in the chamber. How are you going to do this and build trust? Obviously, you know, you have been a team player before, but what are your methodologies? What's your methodology there, mate?
Well, it is vitally important that you figure out soon than later that you need 5 other votes to achieve anything in chamber. I have a proven track record of collaborative and positive relationships across a number of medium to large organisations. It's important to develop and present a sound business case and not to be voting on raw emotions or bias. As a previous councillor and deputy mayor, I'm very experienced in the process of local government and how to build my trust across with my fellow councillors. You need to seek first to understand before being understood. And we all know this one, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should use them in that proportion. And you need to create a team environment by asking permission to speak. We all need to be heard. You need to share and own the success or failure of decisions. There's no blame game. I am a good team player.
Awesome, Robert. Thank you for those very succinct words. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we...
Yeah, we'll let him go. Yeah.
Look, I do appreciate the forum. I congratulate all 3 of you for your innovation. I hope that this can flow on to bigger things for you as a group, because the thing that I'm finding across the region is people need to know a little bit and consistently, and that's not been happening. Sort of a lot of decisions have just arrived in people's headspace and they're unsure. So there's some really key issues that very early on I'd like to develop some communication strategies to get those simple messages out and opportunities for people to connect. It's not all online. It's got to be a combination of everything. But yeah, I'll be there right in the thick of it to try and get that council message out. It's you know, our council, my council, your council. Yeah, we've got to remove the us and them and the blame game if we're going to cope and manage with the growth that we're experiencing and will continue to experience. We are on the map across Australia and possibly even the world. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to kick off with the first question. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so For those that don't know me, I'm Alicia Wade and I'm running for Division 6. I'm a single mother with a beautiful daughter, Milana, and I understand the struggles with bringing up a daughter as a single mother. And so I rely on all support networks around me. I am very grateful to have the support of my immediate family here and also have been residing in Hervey Bay for now 9 years. I moved up from Sydney. I have resided in Sydney, Melbourne, and now Queensland is my home. I absolutely love it. When I went over Ghost Hill and saw Hervey Bay, I was like, where have I moved to? And just the beauty all around has absolutely opened my eyes. So I come with experience spanning over 2 decades of early childhood education and care. I offer leadership and expertise in community collaboration. And I've gone from working as an employee right up into operations. I've also worked as a business consultant, so I build small to medium-sized businesses. I work in teams, and I also work in the non-for-profit government sectors and also run my own charity as well. So that's a little scope of me for 30 seconds.
Obviously, you're very motivated, but what do you hope to achieve in council?
Okay, so if elected for council, I actually want to build stronger communities. So I want to leverage on my expertise and my extensive experience in creating an inclusive and vibrant Fraser Coast where every voice is heard and contributes to the shared prosperity in the Fraser Coast region. I also want to strengthen our economy, so guiding businesses strategically, managing finances, and I also look at fueling growth and ensuring innovative solutions come forth for the Fraser Coast region. So then that way we have that economic prosperity for this community. I also want to protect our environment. I think this is really important and something that is an ongoing echo in the Division 6 area. So I want to dedicate to preserving our region's natural beauty and advocate for environmental responsibility to ensure that we're sustainable and also we're thriving in our environment. And then on top of this, I also want to get some more education programs with e-scooters. I know that seems to be a hot topic in our community. Working with local, state and federal levels to do something with our younger community. We do have a lot of youth travelling around here, and it's about making our roads safer, free from harm, so everybody can utilise the roads. Also ensuring that all abilities have access to great pedestrian access, but also those bike laneways. So then that way everybody can share the roads on our roadways and intersections as well. I know there's a couple of intersections that are prominent and are key issues in the Division 6 area, and it's working with state and federal governments to ensure that we get the funding to put in the right processes and solve these problems with traffic congestion so the traffic can keep flowing, because we do see a population growth. We do see this increasing, and it's ensuring that we put the right solutions in so then everybody is happy that utilises all the roads.
So, Alicia, from that point of view in relation to e-scooters, council will at some time in the next in the next term, we'll have to make a decision whether to extend the hire of e-scooters, the purple scooters or something similar. There's certain views in the community, and some candidates have views maybe not to continue that. What's your position on the e-scooter hire? Being
careful here, because we do have a section that we have to be careful. You can say, in my opinion. I don't want to get people in trouble here. No, section 20, mate.
I can tell you, unless you provide a written submission, you're well and so don't write anything down.
And don't say over my dead body. That's what Ken told us the other day.
I dare not criticize Ken's view.
Do to these guys?
I don't know. To answer this question really effectively and communicate this really strongly, what I want to see from the BEAM organisation, I want to see what the profit and loss statements are, what the accidents have been. There's so many moving parts to this, and it has been successful. And I have worked closely with a small business who does run an e-scooter business. So I do have a level of awareness on it. And so it's getting facts, research, and backing myself up on forming what's going to be the best solution for this community, because I know that it's helped a lot of people in this community with employment and getting to work, to and from work. So employment opportunities have arisen from having this implemented. And so we've got to think of the pros and cons and really make considerations on, okay, well, what's all the information that's coming through to us right now?
So what we would love to know from you is, when you're in council, you will need 5 other votes to get your ideas or your projects across the line. How will you build trust with your fellow councillors, and what's your approach to being a team player?
Awesome. I love this question because team player and team member is something that I actually facilitate in a lot of my workshops. So I've been communicating this effectively in all of the work that I do, and in the course of 20 years worth of leadership. I also have transformed many early childhood services right across Queensland and New South Wales on high performing teams. So when it comes to working with council, I'm all about team membership, teamwork and trust. So making sure that I talk and listen to my fellow councillors, so we're all on the same page and we can work together, because the best way to get any form of action or change is by building rapport and building that trust with everybody in the council. So when I bring ideas to the tables, I want to make sure that I've got all the facts, I've got all the research to back myself up. I also have university research. My university skills on doing research comes in handy, making sure that I propose this with well-researched, well-thought-out processes before putting anything to the table. And I'm not here just to push my own agenda. It's about my values, my vision, and then matching that up with what council has as well, and then synergizing all of that together. I want us all moving together forward in the same direction to get things done, because when you're working together in a very high effective team, things move much faster than if you've got conflict and animosity and all of that jazz. So transparency is very key to me. And I believe in being very clear about why I suggest things or make decisions. It's about making sure everybody knows what's happening and making sure that we're all inclusive to all the crucial issues that do pop up. And I want to make sure that everybody, no matter what background or religion or what diverse cultural background, I want people to feel a part of that conversation. We're in this all together, and it's very important that every voice is heard and every voice matters. And I think with my lived experience and my business experience, I can span that across a lot of different industries and a lot of different social interactions. So I'll be doing high touch and high tech, so doing your face-to-face stuff, as well as that high tech stuff, Zoom meetings, seminars like this, all of that sort of jazz. So really, really keeping the communication quite clear and effective for everybody to work together.
Joining us is Kathryn Forgan-Flynn. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a quick 30-seconder.
Hey guys, thanks for inviting me. So I think primarily I'm a wife and I'm a mother, but I'm also a teacher, a business manager, researcher, and in many of my roles I've filled that as a problem solver. My career has always been in service of the community in which I'm living in, and for the past 21 years that's been the Fraser Coast. I've lived and worked across Queensland. I've had the privilege of living in some really poor and challenged communities, as well as some really affluent communities. I've needed to think on my feet, especially in those 20 years or so when we lived on premise. My husband managed hotels, and I've had the wonderful pleasure of working alongside many family across the Fraser Coast, listening to them and ensuring that their needs are not only met, but they're respected and supported in what they wish to achieve.
So if you are elected to council, what do you hope to achieve?
Well, there's a list, but I'll try and keep it short. I think the most important thing is that I want a council that's going to walk in the shoes of the people in which they're serving. So a couple of things. I'd like to see all councillors playing a role in the sleep bus, taking on a couple of those roles over their term. On the rail trail, which is something pretty close to my heart, I'm a bike rider myself. I'd love to see all our councillors getting on a bike before they make any decisions and experiencing what that looks like and what that feels like. And I'd love our playgrounds for our children to be a little less plastic fantastic and a little bit more nature-based. because we know that nature-based education is one of the best ways to support resilience in our children, but also to promote that problem solving and, most importantly, that connection to their wider community. So that's going to address some of those crime issues that we're experiencing at the moment. I'd like to be part of our youth playing a really active role in our community, because the decisions that we're going to make in the next couple of years are directly affecting them. If they're allowed to be part of that solutions-based focus and see that their engagement and their conversations actually have real-world action, then again, we're going to create greater connection and a greater ownership of our wider community.
What's your view on motorbikes that go really fast past your house?
Well, it's usually one of my children. We have a shed full of motorbikes.
That's great.
Very good. In council, you'll need 5 other votes to achieve anything in the chamber. How will you build trust and teamwork with your fellow councillors?
So trust, there's not one easy answer to this. You've got to lead by example. You've got to have a history of leading by example. You've got to demonstrate care and fairness, and most importantly, consistency with all the people that you're working alongside. And I think you need to be honest and provide some really constructive feedback. So always be willing to listen and engage in that conversation, but you can have that honest feedback where you go, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but perhaps I have a different point of view because of my lived experiences. Shared values and that commitment to our overall corporate plan, really understanding what those corporate documents look like is important. And it's really understanding how you communicate affects the way that people work with you. So sometimes you need to adapt or change your preferred communication styles to ensure that you're meeting the needs and the values of other people that you're working alongside. It's really important that I think we're mindful that we don't create division or we don't create those alliances amongst council, because that's really frustrating from others looking from the outside in. So yes, you can be collaborative. Yes, you'd like most people to have that shared vision, but you also have to understand and respect that people have their own points of view and that you need to step outside of your own personal values sometimes and make decisions that are for the greater good.
You talk about a shared experience. How has your shared experience been running in this election? Because this is your first election. How has it been?
I'm the novice, aren't I? Look, it's been a really interesting journey, and those people who have known me for a long time have asked exactly that question. It's not too different to the education profession. As a business manager, so more in the admin side of education, I've had to make sure that I am not only leading from myself, but bolstering the skills of everyone around me, and leading from a point of information. So it has been a learning journey, and I'm hoping it's one that I can continue, but it's up to the people of the Fraser Coast.
So Lachlan, thank you for joining us. You did have a few technical issues, so we have invited you into this studio. That's not because we're showing favourites. It's because you've had some issues, and we're more than happy to accommodate you, because what we want is for your message to be able to be communicated to our community.
Yeah, thanks, Stu. Thank you so much for having me, guys. And I can see that you guys are putting the work in to, I guess, give a local voice these elections, which is, I think, very important. We have, unfortunately, seen a loss of local voices in our media. Having been involved in that area myself, it's disappointing to see, but what you guys are doing essentially off your own back is fantastic. So thank you.
Yeah, and we only do it for the money.
Yeah, exactly. It must pay.
Am I getting paid?
Pay really well.
It pays nothing. All right, so Satara's got a couple of questions for you.
Lachlan, please share with us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Lachlan Cosgrove. I'm 35. Currently, I'm working as a sole trader in my own business. So I'm doing disability support. Previous to that, my primary experience as in a professional sense has been in the media industry, and that included 5 years broadcasting to our local community with actually your co-host who has run away, Macca. So I did 5 years with Macca on what was CFM Wide Bay, which became Hit 101.9 Fraser Coast.
So what do you hope to achieve if elected to council?
I think the primary thing that I would like to achieve is to be available for my constituents and be an advocate for what their views are. Essentially, as I tell people when I speak to them, there's no magic wand, and you'll be going in as one of 11 votes on council. So I think it's important to know what people want and then use your skills for advocacy and relationship building to essentially make that happen. In terms of priorities and things that have come up with people, as I've been speaking to people on the trail, two big ones that I think people are raising with me unprompted would be road safety and traffic congestion. That's coming up a lot, and that is often local to people's individual street or area. And there's a crossover there with community safety and crime reduction, which is the other one that comes up. And the crossover is we as a council and as a community need to be doing whatever we can to help our police service, and whether that's through the provision of CCTV or any other ways we can help. I think that's something that we need to prioritise in the next council.
Absolutely. So in council, you will need 5 other votes to achieve anything in the chamber. What's your approach to being a team player, and how will you build trust with your fellow councillors?
I think the first thing would be leave your ego at the door. Politics can often attract people with very large egos, but I think if we all realise that we're coming from different experiences, we all have different strength and weaknesses, we can build better outcomes and achieve better outcomes for our community. So that would be the first thing. The second thing would be I would say respecting people is where it all starts, and communication. And the key to communication ultimately is listening. You've got to listen to people to be able to understand them and then see where they're coming from so that you can see where perhaps a compromise might lay or where the common ground might be.
So that's the entire question. Is there anything else you want to finish with before we wrap it up?
No, look, thank you so much for accommodating me, guys. And I appreciate what you're doing for the community. I think an informed vote is what we should all strive for as citizens, because oftentimes, we're very disenfranchised, disengaged with the system. But the best way to change it is to really interrogate your candidates and make a decision based on who you believe best aligns with your values and your principles.
What have you learnt about yourself and your community in this election campaign?
I think ultimately I've learnt that so many of our community members really they do have a heart for the community. They're not looking for confrontation in their views. They may hold views one way or the other, but ultimately if you push back on that view or perhaps have a different view, they're not looking for a fight. They're happy to consider compromise. Just in on that regard, I would say Building Heights on the Esplanade is one where I've spoken to people who are happy to see building heights exceed 20 stories, for example. And I say to them, well, I feel like, my personal view is I'm more in the mid-rise category. And they go, yeah, well, I could see that as a compromise as well. So people aren't sort of that you have to realise that real life and face-to-face communication is still the lifeblood of council. And that face-to-face interaction, you realise that people aren't as highly strung and perhaps even angry as they may appear sometimes on Facebook, for example.